What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Every Dad Podcast. My name is Ryan Tugger. This is Todd Clark. That's Blake Reese. I almost said somebody else's name, Blake Reese. And today we have a special guest, Matt Burns. So, how's it going, boys? You doing good? We'll get to Matt in just a minute, but how's life? It's crazy.
Life's going well. And I actually think, and just as like a point of note, I think that might be the first time that you ever called Blake Reese.
I always call him Blakey Boy.
Previously,
yeah.
I thought his name was, like,
Blakey
his
Boy.
last name was Z-Boy. Like, just from how consistently that happened, so.
It's a new year, you know. I'm trying to turn over some new things, trying to change a little bit, you know.
Okay.
Be a new me.
What is that? What kind of things are you trying to change? And this, just don't let me get too personal quick here.
That's it. Just changing how I call
just
Blake,
a general
Blakey
statement.
Boy. Yeah.
Okay.
Just I'm doing some inner searching, you know, and just trying to be a better Ryan. I'm still searching. I'm still trying to figure that out.
How are
I was
you,
just
Blake?
kidding. I have no idea. Wow. Blake.
This is what we're doing today then, all right?
Wow.
This is how we're going to do it.
Matt, I'm so sorry. This may just be a really short podcast if we just talk about some things. But anyway, so how's it going, dude? Like, welcome to the Every Dad Podcast. Thanks for taking time on a weeknight to come hang out with us for a few minutes, and we're gonna pick your brain, ask you some questions, and hopefully make you cry just a little bit. But you know,
that's not my
There's
goal.
always a possibility.
You wouldn't be the first.
That's true.
I guarantee you.
Have we made somebody
I think
cry?
I've cried.
No.
I mean, I didn't. We edited it out, but I think
I've known you a long time.
It depends on how
You've
we
never seen me cry? I cry all the time.
It depends on how we define cry. Watery eyes. Does it have to fall?
I'm saying like a
in your heart?
wipe. You know, like you
Like
wipe, and then
sawdust.
you can't like get words out because you're, you know, that's
Like
what
a
I'm.
sob more.
No, not like a sob, just like a. I need a second, boys.
Can
you know?
can
deep
men
breath.
cry?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. When's the last time you cried?
There's your intro question. When's the last time you cried?
Wow.
I
Not
don't
this
know.
year.
Have a daughter and figure out why your emotions take you to weird places
Yeah.
and make you feel soft. I mean, I don't remember the last time it was, but every couple of weeks, Danny will do something that just crushes me, like in a good way.
Okay, so like happy, like man, I'm overjoyed.
Yeah, I don't remember last time I sad cried. It probably wasn't that long ago. I just don't remember.
Do you cry over movies? Like,
I don't watch
do
movies.
movies ever get you?
Marley and Me when I was like 12.
Oh, my
I remember
goodness.
crying watching that. I don't watch movies though.
The ones that'll choke me up are like father-son moments. You know what I mean? Like, if there's a father-son moment that's like really touching, like, I'll be like, ooh.
I do think there's just something about being a dad and having children and watching there's moments as a dad that like there's emotions that you get from your kids that you don't know.
Yeah.
Like that can't really come from anywhere else.
For sure. I was just curious.
I don't have a son, but I feel like it might be exaggerated with a daughter. That's just my personal
I'm
take
sure.
on this.
Matt, you have 2 kids, right?
Yes. I have a 3-year-old little boy and a 17-month-old little girl.
So which one makes you more emotional?
Oh man, I see so much of me in the little boy, and it's scary.
Ah.
I mean, it's like I know what a mischief I got into, like not from bad, just because I have no sit down. I can't be still. My little girl's like she feels like I'm just trying to raise somebody tough into the world, and so I try not to get emotional with her. Other than I get more emotional at the little boy when he's being mean to her. That's the toughest thing, and I have to catch myself because I'm like, hey, he's to that point where he's going to remember things almost, and so you have the little girl. If you have a little boy, like if he's anything like my little girl, my wife and I are very similar but very different all at the same. I mean, neither of us can sit still. I mean, you can't get us still. We're both ADHD. We should be prescribed stuff, but we're not. But it's like they both have a little bit of us. Now, my little girl's way more emotional, but it's not like a cry emotion. It's like whiny, like getting angry at her brother. I mean, seriously, it's not that. Like, so, no, I mean, I get more emotional when I tell a part of my story
Yeah.
than I ever do. I mean, I guess I do with them, but I try to stay tough guy with them because, I mean, I'm only there for a few hours.
I hear
a day.
you when you talk about like trying to raise I have a strong desire to want to raise a tough young girl though. So I don't feel like I overly coddle her if she falls or gets hurt. Like she's liable to show up to church on a Sunday and she's got a big gash in her head because she's out playing and like I don't freak out when she gets hurt or is in pain or like it hurts me. I don't like seeing her in pain by any means, but I think I'm like, okay, that's part of being a kid. Like go get scratches and bruises and get upset. That doesn't bother me. The emotions I'm talking about is when she just randomly looks at me or grabs my face and says like, Daddy, I love you or whatever. And it just like melts me. It's when I'm not expecting it she does something way sweet. And I'm like, it makes me realize, okay, we're doing something right here clearly because she's expressing, genuine affection for me. And that makes me feel good.
I'm going to grab you by the face one Sunday unexpectedly. Like, Blakey boy, I love you, man.
Don't do that.
And like, just
Don't.
No, don't do that.
just
From the bottom of his
see what
heart,
happens.
don't do that.
Yeah. Well, let's try to get Matt emotional. How about that? That's the goal for today. I'm just kidding. So, no, for real though, we wanted to. I know you better than these guys know you, and I know a little bit of your story, and it's a pretty phenomenal thing that's happening in your life currently. So, man, as quickly as you can. I don't know. Tell us a little bit. Like, you grew up a preacher's kid. How was that?
I was a third, so I mean, I really wasn't looked at as hard as the other two were. But yeah, I grew up a preacher's kid. The old-fashioned drug problem where you were drugged to church literally every time the doors were open. I mean, I guarantee you I could look at all y'all, and I've been left at the church more than y'all. I was taken home. I wasn't even 4 yet. We were living in East Tennessee, a small church in Maryville, Tennessee, if you ever know where that's at. I was taken home by the janitor who also, him and his wife, watched the kids in a green and black, I don't even know what it was. I mean, this was a 60s, 70s model car. Didn't have a seatbelt in it. They sat me in the back seat and I stood up holding the back of their headrest on the way home there was a mop in the back. I don't know how I remember this. I might have been 4 when they say your memory starts. On the way home, I show up and they take me to the front door and knock on the door and my mom goes, why are y'all bringing him home? Chris didn't get him. I didn't get him. I mean, that was just the first time. I mean, there was many a times where I was just sitting on a pew. I fell asleep in church one time when I was like 6 or 7. Mom just left me on the pew. Of course, I wake up. Sanctuary's dark. I walk out. Nobody's there except for, again, janitor. Luckily, there were phones then at the church.
Yeah.
They called the house. Dad had to get back in the car and come back and pick me up. I mean, that's just the beginning. So, yeah, I grew up a preacher's kid, youngest of 3. I have 2 amazing brothers who are my best friends that I look up to and love. But, yeah, I was not raised, I wasn't the coddled kid because, I mean, yeah, I'm my mom's favorite, and she'll admit that. But I was the youngest, I was always at church. The funny thing, my little bit of when I was saved, I was 6, and it was in a 1980 Firebird. My uncle had given it to my brother. My mom was driving it. I remember, and I was talking about mom and dad. This is before you ever text me. I said, I remember the night I was saved, and you were saying you were super young. People question that, and I was like, I can firmly plant it.
Yeah.
There. Not saying I didn't have separation later on in life, where I kind of ran, and it was on my own because I was putting myself in front. But it was always put in. They always say, when they're talking to kids, and I kind of correct people now, is you have a God-sized hole in your heart. But I mean, it's truthfully, if you look at it, it's more of a God-sized hole in your life.
Yeah.
I mean, so it wasn't a fear thing, I don't think, because I was in church. I understood it. We had an amazing staff at the church. Somebody with the young kids, I remember I told Mom when we were leaving the house. She made some jokes, and she said, "Do you want to go over it right now?" And I was like, "Well, I know I've asked Jesus into my life. I said, she goes, well, let's get to church and talk to Dad. And I was like, oh, okay. So we got to church, talk to Dad. I went down for it. It was a Sunday night. And then I was not like here. We didn't keep the baptismal completely filled at all times, which is when I tell the story about our baptisms and our people coming forward to preachers that are still in my life. I mean, it's amazing, but I was baptized on a Sunday that was a Christmas. And I remember we got to bring a toy, and I brought this little Sidewinder toy. But I mean, to the day, so I was saved when I was 6, always in church throughout. God, I probably didn't miss a Sunday that I wasn't deathly ill. And I say this because my mom taught a Sunday school class. My dad didn't. Nobody could stay home with me.
Yeah.
Until I was probably, probably in college. That wasn't like, okay, Matt's can't go to church today. So I was kind of that mode. I mean, whether it was a Wednesday night, Sunday night, we had visitation on Monday nights, of course.
Come on.
I was there on visitation.
That's like old school
What'd
church.
they call yours? Was
Faith.
it share? Was it faith? I did
forgiveness available and possible turn heaven.
Yes.
So I mean, we were there. Like Miss De Silva, her husband would always watch us, and I gave them the worst time in there. I mean, because I was always there. I mean, I went to daycare, and then when Dad was like, oh, he's getting in trouble too much at daycare. Just going to put him in the CLC, which is what our gym was, a Christian Life Center. And I would just shoot basketball and throw baseballs up against the brick walls. There's probably still marks on these walls, even though they've painted over from times I hit it with a baseball in my life. And so, you know, I was just always there. And so, you know, when I went off to college, I went off to go play junior college baseball. And so junior college baseball is, you don't have a weekend. You don't have a week. There's no hours that you're trying to meet. You know, it's alive in the morning. You're waking up and you're running five at 5. You're tripping over everything. Coach is riding behind you in a golf cart with a light that's so dim you can't see anything. You're right.
That familiar, Blake?
We had a little more facilities probably than what he's talking about.
Oh,
so it wasn't dimly lit with a golf cart.
I got you.
But
What's a facility? You know, I didn't know what a facility was until way later on. But yeah, so
but it was still early. Principle's still the same.
Yeah.
So it got easy to not be at church.
Yeah.
You know, it was, you know, Wednesday night wasn't. I mean, we were going to practice baseball until coach felt like you did 27 outs properly, which was a farce. I mean, you were never going to do it correctly. Nope. It was going to be time for him to go home, is what it essentially counted to. And then he would look at you and be like, all right, get your swings in now. What am I doing here? So that kind of, you know, I kind of got into a mode where it was easy not to go to church then. You know, I would go to church when I was in town, of course, because, you know, I enjoyed going to church. It just wasn't easy.
Yeah.
I was having
Plus
to
you
wake
break
up
away and go to a town that you're not familiar with and you don't know anybody, and all that church family that you grew up with is like totally gone. So it's not only effort to just go to church, but you feel like you don't have a home, and now you got to rebuild that whole community, which is still worthwhile. But just when you're 18 years old and you're off on your own, it's like, that sounds like a lot of effort.
Well, there's accountability for being in a church you grew up in. People expect you to be there.
Correct,
You've got responsibilities, opportunities to serve. People are going to miss you if you're not there, and it's easy when you move to a different place to, you know, you've got to recreate that, and you've got to make that a priority, or else it's just, you know, it's not going to happen.
And it's sad to say, but it was easy. That was the one day you didn't have to be there until 12 o'clock to practice. And you know, there was a few times I was telling him earlier, I used to go on mission trips and play baseball in the Dominican Republic. And one of the guys' doctor that had gone on a mission trip was a doctor in the little town. And I went a couple times with him, but I mean, the sad thing is it got easy to not go when I wasn't in town, when I wasn't with mom and dad, when there was no, in my life at that time, there's no reason to go. My buddies aren't going. Why do I need to go? And it's sad to look back there, as I missed a lot of time of growth there, and probably friends that I would still keep in touch with to this day, by just being lazy and staying at the house and sleeping in as late as possible.
All right, so let's fast forward a little bit and like, how long you and your wife been married?
That's a question to put me on. This will be year 7, so it won't be till August, so 6 years. And we got married in 8/24/19.
Nice.
There you go.
Good math term to remember. 8 and 24 go together.
And then, so what year? So can you talk about like the medical thing that's kind of happening? Because I kind of want to, we really want to hear like how you deal with some of the medical things that you have going on and maintain that father, the goal to be a good father, the goal to be a good husband, still maintaining your relationship with Jesus, even though there's some scary stuff happening in your life. Like, so can you kind of walk us through that? And
well, I lay it out. I mean, I put dates, but I remember most of them. But so Allie and I started going back to church. We'd gone to church, but it wasn't a consistent thing. We'd bounced around. Is that excuse?
Yeah.
So you didn't have to dig in and meet anybody. You bounce around. So we moved down here with my job into 2019. And so we didn't plan on having a kid yet. And so we did, and we waited. And then we got pregnant, lost a child. And then we got pregnant again in 2021. Or into 2021, yeah. Charlie was born in 2021, February 22. And so, February 21. I'm losing my math again. And so I've got everything I want. I have a job that is paying me more than I ever imagined. I was a school teacher and then a baseball coach, and, I was in college and I was the bottom guy on the totem pole there. And so I had everything. And so, funny, I went to the doctor on January 25th. So rewind to October, October 21st, I had an eye appointment to go to the eye doctor. I gave it to my wife because she felt like her eyes were getting bad driving at night. She needed to get glasses, so I gave it to her. So I go to the doctor multiple months later, January 25th, and I sit down and eye doctor looks at me after running all the tests and everything, and she goes, "Hey, have you ever had a brain injury?" I was like, I'm in the medical field, so I understand terms, and I was like, I had a couple concussions, but you're talking about like a TBI, which is a traumatic brain injury, and I said no, and she goes, "Crap," and I was sit back, and you're like, this is real. Because there's only two things you can come out of looking at. She said you got massive atrophy in your optic nerve on your left side. And the right side's pinkening, which is normal for astigmatism. But she said, you need to get to a neurosurgeon, a neurologist.
like immediately? Like she wanted you to
She
go.
said it's your vision. And so I had lost all of my peripherals, and both eyes affected my right side. It's not enough. I still pass eye exams, still drive because I pass those eye exams as much as they don't want you to, I'm sure. But I passed those, and she's like, it's going to affect your vision more. And so I'm here with an athlete and then guys that have played sports. I mean, I played baseball. Visions, you don't have vision, you're not playing.
Yeah.
And so it was never a thought process of how important your vision is. And so I pulled some strings, because to get an MRI bar going to the emergency room, it's tough. I mean, MRIs are booked out.
Yeah.
Because MRIs, it's an emergency, but it's not really. I mean, you tear an ACL, doesn't matter if you get an MRI tomorrow, you get it in 6 months. Still torn. So they're booked out. So I pull strings, and this is my angel moment of not being with an angel, but when they're sliding me out of the MRI. If you've never been in an MRI tube, if you're claustrophobic, you're in trouble. because I mean you're tight and you're in there, and I'm not a big guy, and you're still tight, and so she grabs my hand just so softly, and so you've already built this in, and I was gonna say 25th, when I get told this, my parents come down here and visit. My parents are both retired. My parents are in town. They don't come all the time. Just random week, my parents are in town. And so with all of this, and I'll go into Dad with me, because, he is my dad, and talking about kids. So they slide their hand, pulling me out, and they're like, I was like, I realize there's something there. I mean, I get it. I mean, there's something going on. And she goes, well, we're going to keep your heart rate down really low. We think it's an aneurysm. 14 or 16 point, it's 14.6 now, 16.9 millimeter aneurysm. It's almost over. So pull the strings. I know people at the hospital. CMO at the time walks in. He's like, hey, man, what's going on? And I was like, well, they're calling my insurance now because they're trying to do an emergency CTA, and my insurance is not answering the phone. CTAs are probably $20,000 for a hospital to bill.
Wow.
20,000. He's like, no, put him through. We'll worry about that later if anything happens. So put it through. And so they run the scans on me for that. And this is all happening in this little moment. My wife is sitting in this little bitty 2-stall waiting room that's inside there. And because I told her, I was like, look, we might be getting rushed to UAB or rushed to Tallahassee to put this cool in, because this could be an aneurysm that is close. So they run me through a CTA. It comes back that it's not an aneurysm, which is the blessing. I mean, if you look up medical, a brain aneurysm, the numbers aren't great.
Yeah.
And so it's a tumor. It's on my optic nerve. And so, so now we know this. We start making phone calls. Casey Dunn, who's a coaching friend of mine, who's a head baseball coach in college, his wife has glioblastoma. Real deal stuff. And she's lived for a long time, and she's great. And I mean, such a sweet lady. But so I'm like, who can I reach out to? Who's going to pull strings for me to get me in these guys quicker? Because, my nucleus is in Birmingham. And so it's nothing on anybody here. I need to be around my nucleus for my wife. And at the time, I had a barely 1-year-old. And so you look at God giving you everything you've ever wanted, and it can be gone like that.
Yeah.
So what starts running through your mind? It's your vision. You're not going to see your kid again. You're not going to see your wife. It's scary. And so we roll through things. First surgery they prepare for was going to be April. And so
That long? Like it was going to be.
So tumors don't grow fast.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Don't really grow fast. You have so many other people. I mean, I could have pulled strings and had surgery here, but then I wouldn't have had my family, my wife's family there. I could have had surgery the next day.
Right.
Once they got scans and insurance and everything. I mean, I could have pulled strings for that through friends. But I'm going up there. So it turns around. A year before, my dad had brain surgery on a tumor. He had his for a long time, and I can get political with it, but it had his didn't grow for a long time, and then all of a sudden it took off after a certain date. And so they went and removed it. Great surgery. Same surgery did mine. So we quick schedule it for April. And Allie reminded me of that. I'd forgotten about that because in the same time frame, UAB, where I had it, was getting a scan put in. There's only 4 in the United States at the time. And there was 3, and they were getting the 4th one. It's like North Carolina and 2 on the West Coast at those big hospitals that are in California. So they're getting it in, and they want to run this scan. So what this scan did is and I say scan, it's the MRI with a certain dotatate, which is the stuff they inject in you that glistens up. And so for lack of not really completely understanding it, is if it lights up in the body, it's cancer. If it lights up in the brain, it's not cancer. And so they run this, and I don't know. I've never got it, saw it. Most of the time I get to see an MRI, I go sneak around, and I'm like, hey, this is my scan. My insurance paid for it. Let me see it right now. And they're usually pretty good about letting me see it because I tell them first I'm in the medical field. And so we do that scan, and then so we come back from Birmingham, and it's back to I have a little one. So like at the time, my business is booming. I'm busy. I'm getting home. I'm spending as much time with him just because, back to what I was saying before, I'm going to have brain surgery and wind up having brain surgery January 12th of 22. And so you're like, I don't know if I'm going to wake up with my lights out or not. Yeah. So I'm going to build as much picture memory that I can.
Wow.
And so we're going to church at Highland Park. I mean, I can't tell you how much, so they tell you when you're searching around for a church, when you walk in, and I'm a preacher's kid, like we said, and when somebody preaches the gospel the way your dad did, you're like, this is my church.
Yeah.
So we're going here. We go to a Sunday school class right before I'm scheduled to have surgery. So we're getting enthralled, building ourselves in the church. Love the church. I get a call. Gosh, it was about 3 weeks before. I'm in the middle of surgery. It's at the end, so I'm just doing paperwork and stuff, getting done. I get a call, and I look down at my phone, and it says UAB Oncology. Brain cancer is real.
Yeah.
So you lose your stomach right there. I answer it. All she says is, hey, you have an appointment June 9th.
No.
Dang it.
I've got surgery June 12th. Well, it was my pre-op. So I go in, so let me say this. I have personal phone numbers of many nurse practitioners that work in neurosurgery at UAB, but at that time I didn't. So I'm calling office like, why is oncology calling me? I want a little preface. My portal won't pull up. Like, you have a patient portal at UAB, you have it everywhere now. I'm like, it's not pulling up. Like, I can read it and I can understand it, or I can pick up the phone and I can call somebody and say, hey, this is what my portal's saying right now. I can't get it to pull up. So nothing. Just like 3 weeks before I go. We find out it winds up being Coach Dunn's neighbor, who's a very close friend of Coach Dunn. He's like, hey, man, I am head of neuro-oncology. And I was like, why are you, is it cancer? He's like, no. I just wanted to meet you first. I want to tell you we're going to look over you and everything like that. And I'm like,
thanks for that.
So my pre-op was there with them. And then Dr. Riley, who did my surgery, she came down to them and it's like, look, we're pre-oping you just quick. Just tell you, here's your expectations. You're going to be in neuro ICU for a couple days. We'll pull you out of that for 1 day, and then you'll go home if all's well. So it's like you're sitting there, and the wheels are just turning, and you're no traction. So in all this time, the toughest thing you can do that I found is what you end up doing is you start thinking me, why me? And so it takes me a second to get this out. I'm driving down Jinx Avenue. I'm headed from one hospital to the other, and I'm talking to my middle brother, who's a school superintendent, teaches Sunday school. And they're my rocks, my two brothers. And so I'm talking to him, and I'm like, what if I die? What if I go into surgery and I don't wake up? It's not from, my wife's going to be okay. My child.
Yeah.
I've seen what happens to people that are raised by a fatherless family, or some other guy steps in to raise a dad and he's not a biblical man.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm a perfect biblical man. I'm not a perfect person, but that fear sets in. And my brother looks at me and he goes, you're talking about a God that sent his son to die for you and Charlie. Charlie's my son. And that's all I had at that time. And he goes, do you really not have that kind of faith?
Dang.
You kind of just sit back. I can tell you exactly. I pulled in right at First Baptist, and I just kind of sat there, and I was like, you're right.
That's exactly what you needed to hear.
It's like, I'm boo-hooing the whole time talking to him, but I'm like, that's it. That's what God had to tell me, is that he's got full control in everything. And, I look at it from the fact of God got my attention with this tumor.
Yeah.
Whether people say God does anything bad to somebody, I'm not going to say, but he got my attention with this. Because he said, you grew up in church. You know how to raise a family in church. You were raised in church. And you've been playing with work. I've given you all of this. You have an incredible work environment. Everything's going great. But you're not where you need to be with your family. You're not dragging your family to church every time the doors are open, which was an eye-opening moment, because he's in control.
Yeah. Well, and what I find interesting, and one of the reasons why I wanted to kind of bring you on is, like, I know that story, but, like, look, just meeting you for the first time, or seeing you in public, or seeing you with your kids and with your wife, like, you would never know that you got this heavy weight of this thing kind of on, well, lack of better words, on your brain. Like, you've got this thing that's weighing you down, but your confidence in who God is and what he's doing and how he's working, like, you don't let that stop you from doing the everyday thing with your family, and the way you treat them, and the way that you bring them to church. Like, no one would ever know, right? And so I want to say, like, I admire that. I admire that you're not letting some sort of medical thing, like, derail you from the purpose that God has for you. And it's because I know that, and then I see the other side of it. Like, it's really cool to watch. And cause you're an easy guy to talk to. You got a lot of energy, a lot of, you're a little goofy sometimes, and, you're pretty good at golf, but whatever. But, so it's kind of cool to see. I don't know, man, that's a unbelievable story about how God's working. And so how's your wife dealing with all this? Like, she holding strong?
She is. I mean, she's the strength there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a strong person. I put that on. I mean, she's my rock in there. I mean, it's, God has somebody for everybody.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, this is what you're going to need.
Yeah.
And she's tough. Her family life growing up wasn't perfect. They weren't in church every Sunday. They weren't. I mean, God put a hunger in her life. And so when it comes to, for instance, we were going through mail earlier this evening, and I grab all my UAB stuff, because I still have to go. Well, it was every 6 months. Now it's every 9 months. And
that's a good thing.
And was
that's a good thing.
Well, when they dropped it back to 6 months, they had I had radiation as well to kill the tumor, which it's shrunk. I mean, it's gone from 16.9 millimeters. When they did surgery, by the way, when I did surgery, they couldn't remove any of it. They got a slice to send off. So it's still there. I mean, 99.99999% of it's still there. So 16.9, last time I went, it was 14.6. I think that's right. 14.6. But I do have a cyst that is formed, which happens from radiation. And so that's why they dropped me back. We went last time. There probably will be another surgery to drill down, extract the cyst out. But like we said, I mean, it's God's plan.
Yeah.
I mean, all we can do is rely on Him. So in that, my wife has gotten closer to God than, say, me, and I'm not meaning that bad.
Yeah.
Since this, than anybody I've ever seen like this. I mean, it's amazing. She asked me questions and things because I grew up and I read the Bible, and I grew up in church, and I'm like, we got to call Dad. I don't know the exact answer to that one. You know, I haven't dug into Revelation. I'm so excited.
Ty calls me when he has those questions, but you know, it's fine.
I do.
It's because of age difference, right?
Yeah. Hey,
He said it. I just agreed.
I know that's true.
There, you know, I'm sure that there's hopefully somebody listening to this that maybe he's gone through or has gone through something similar to you that learns from it. But in my shoes, I almost feel strange because I have currently found myself in the position that you were in before, where it's like everything seems to be going really well. Like I've got the job that I love. The family is as healthy as we could seemingly be. We've just got a house that we absolutely have fallen in love with. And it's an oversimplified, maybe cheesy phrase, but everyone's probably heard it, right? You're either in a storm or been through one, or you're going towards one. And I have like this subtle fear. I'm like, okay, everything's really, really good right now. Like what's coming? Like that's kind of the sense that I have. And it's frustrating that, and I've been through storms. I've gotten through them, all these things. And it's really frustrating to me as a part of the human experience. Like it takes wake up calls sometimes.
Yeah.
And I wish it didn't.
Yeah.
And so you say things like, hey, you know, everything's going so well, but like you're not dragging your kids to church. You're not leading the way that you should be. And now it takes this situation to make you snap out of it in some ways. And I know I find it encouraging to hear that. It's like, okay, here's a reminder from someone who's very fortunate to be in a position where seemingly everything is great.
But you've gone through stuff.
But for sure.
Yeah.
And that's just these natural waves of life that we're all in. But when things are going good, it's like, okay, you can either use that, you know, to go through those times and make sure you're really grateful and thanking God and praising Him for all the wonderful things He's blessing you with, or you can take them and just take them for granted.
Yeah.
Get stuck in a condition where you just feel like it's always going to be that way, and all of a sudden it clearly isn't. So
Right.
So, anyways, I find that encouraging as a reminder to me, actually.
So what would you say then? And I agree, you know, and I've heard that statement before, and to be honest with you, I kind of resonate with that too, because I look around and I'm just very, very thankful for the life that I have, for my family, the same way, you know, kids, and
You're making way more money than you ever thought you would.
just let this.
Sorry, my bad.
And very happy. I know the Lord takes care of me, and I mean, yes, and so, but you know, and I know. You know, hearing that, like, yes, it does take wake up calls sometimes, but through the experience that you've had, I also think that there's so much value and so much wisdom from, you know, hearing other people's stories and listening to those stories and being able to take the wisdom from those stories without, you know, the Lord necessarily having to prescribe that to you. And so what are some ways that the experiences that you've had, you know, the story that you have, what are some things that you're doing consistently right now that would be prescriptive to any dad that is, you know, trying to make the most of their you know, their time with their wife or their time with their kids? And you know, what are some of those things? Like, do you have you know, maybe like it could be anything, you know, what are some of the things maybe that the Lord has taught you that maybe you apply on a consistent basis that you know, kind of help you to stay in the moment and really cherish, you know, every moment that you have with your kids?
Oh,
sorry,
man.
That's a pretty loaded question, but I figured we're here for it.
You know, it's not that like it's really anything different. It's take time for the kids, so to say. You know, it's not just sitting on the couch. I mean, I have a job where I have to have my phone on me at all times, you know, and so it's not, when we go home and whether we're watching a movie, it's, you know, I throw BP to my son all the time. If he knocks something off, I'm like, oh well.
Yep.
We just kind of laugh, and Mom's going to get on to us. But it's really turned like, get them in church. That's what God said is you have to be in church. I mean, that's where I've met the people. But as raising my kids, like I'm trying to think of just things that have just massively changed. I mean, I'm around my kids a lot. If I'm home, I'm around the kids. I'm not running away. It happened so early though. I mean, Charlie was less than a year, but I mean, it's just settings, trying to get away from the other stuff.
Yeah.
Like trying to put your phone down, trying to, you could use the excuses. I'm going to read the Sunday school lesson, but it's opening up. We had a kid's Bible. We bought the superheroes. Is trying to set time apart with them. That's not just hanging out. I
think you said it. You said picture memories, right? Like,
I'm still thinking about that.
Like you're creating those. And we've talked a lot about being present as a dad and what that looks like and what that means. And so, I mean, you're trying to live that out. So, I don't know. I think picture memories kind of,
for sure,
kind of defines
it's a
that.
totally different context. But I remember the other day just staring at Danny, just realizing like, God, like over 2 years are already gone, and she's changing so fast. And it's like, sometimes I just need to slow down and just stare at you a minute.
My youngest is about to start driving at the end of the month, so enjoy your 2-year-old, bro.
That's scary.
Like, goodness. Well, hey, man, we're probably out of time, but dude, thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for sharing that, and I know that you've probably encouraged a lot of people. Tens of people watch this episode or this podcast. So, but no, we thank you for being willing to do that, and man, we'll be praying for you. I mean, I know you got a lot, but
don't just pray for the tumor.
Yeah,
pray for me in more ways.
There you go. There you go. Ty, you got anything?
Good,
bro?
Nope.
Blakey boy?
You know what?
What?
Just one little thing. I noticed when you were talking about baseball, when you used the word athlete, when you were talking about Blake, Ryan and I are athletes too, and that's.
I think he applied it to the group.
I said group.
It was an
afterthought.
played
scores.
Okay.
I didn't know if
I
you
like your
fit.
shirt. Oh wait, I like yours too. Over there.
We played in the same high school.
a little defensive, wasn't
he
it?
went a little further than me, but that's good. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just messing around.
That was your own fault. You probably could have made it.
Hey, knock it off.
Me.
Hey, let's cut the camera.
Matt, thank you. Hey, thank you for watching and thank you for listening right here on the Every Dad Podcast, and we'll see you next time right here.